I thought I would jump on the four-wheeler and run up on the other side of the property facing my property, the hillside facing my property, and kind of get an aerial view or a look-down view onto our homestead and put into perspective how much property we have. Now you can see where I've cut down trees. You can see where I've started cutting down trees. You can see the foundation for the main house. You can see the backhoe sitting up there on the hill. You can see my truck sitting there. Now let me just help try and put into perspective how much land I have to clear. So I own this line, basically something like that, all the way up. Same thing over here. So it goes all the way up. Now, as many trees as I've cut down, you can barely tell. You can barely tell that we've even put a dent in the trees that need to be cut down. So I need to work that over. If my plan is to create some sort of a usable piece of property, some of it I'm going to leave. I'm going to try and create a little deer camp in a couple spots. Actually, on that little hillside, that little bald spot right there, I see moose all the time. But let me show you what kind of some of the neighboring lots look like, just to show you that some people have already cleared off quite a bit of land. You can see up 2 lots down from me, you can see on the hillside there that I don't know if it was done naturally or if there was a fire there at one time, but above my neighbor's property, they've cleared off a lot of their land. There's a little spot here and there. That little spot right there, I think is it right there, I think is on my property. It's hard to tell though, I'm pretty sure it is. So there's some little meadows here and there, but for the most part, a lot of that's got to be cleared off. You can see way down, that's about 5 lots down for me. Let me think, I think it's 120 acres that's been cleared off and farmed, still farmable right now. Actually, I think they've got pasture grass on it or something, and they intend on putting a fire break. Now we chose to put our house down low. Part of my theory behind that was that getting in and out in the wintertime is going to be a lot easier if I don't have a half mile or a quarter mile of road that's got ice on it. So our driveway is about 150 feet maybe, but you can see my neighbor chose to put his place way back in the back. Nobody lives full-time up here as of right now. We're the first ones that have started. Mindy and Terrell, who I'm looking kind of down from their property right here. Mindy and Terrell are literally hours away from being here full-time. Then that 120 acre lot down there that's been cleared off, the people that own that plan on building on that this year, hopefully. So that kind of puts into perspective, most of it's hillside. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down. I hiked up to that bald spot the other day and about had a heart attack and came back down. My chainsaw is sitting somewhere right in there. I'm gonna hike up and get it here in just a second. But what we hope to do someday is at a minimum get it thinned out enough to where we can cut it into pastures. Maybe use the upper part for cows or something and be able to rotate those animals. But I've got to get some sort of a road, kind of like what they have over there, going through my property so I can get access to different places on my property. But this is the first time I've looked at it from this side, at least with this much view. Sure pretty. You can see the shop house down there. You can see that I might have wet it down a little bit too much, but I don't know if there's such a thing as wetting it down too much right now. but it's just about ready to go. We're going to pour concrete on either hopefully Tuesday, depending on the availability of my finisher. But kind of a neat little view. And this is the Forest Service. This is where it burned right there last year. So I was sitting somewhere right up there when I just made that video looking down on our property here. Now I'm standing on what was to be the original pad for the house. Last year, Mindy and Terrell rented a dozer, a big D6 bulldozer for a week to cut in their pad that you can kind of see. And they had a day extra, and so I paid them for one of those days, and I brought the dozer over here and I tried to cut out what I thought would be the house pad, and Cedar and myself both didn't care for the location. We since decided to put the main house down there, shop house next to it, but I had this empty spot up here, and I've decided to continue on with a road that'll go up my property line, maybe zigzag back and forth. I haven't quite decided, but I want to be able to bring timber up this road right here. So I'm going to cut out that end 2 posts and make a gate right there. I have a road that comes right up here, and then I'm going to have my sawmill sitting somewhere on this pad that I can drive right up to and unload logs. When I did use the dozer, it had a slant to it. So yesterday, using my backhoe, the New Holland backhoe, I just started moving dirt out and spent maybe hour and a half or 2 hours moving dirt with the backhoe. And I really like the backhoe, and I'm really happy to have it. But I'll tell you what, on the hillside stuff, I think I'm still going to try and find an old used excavator. It's just going to be scary getting that backhoe up there. But regardless, I got to get this figured out here. I want to get the sawmill up here and stationary, but I want to dig back into this hill a little more and give me a bigger place to have trailers, have my sawmill where I can pull right up alongside and unload some decent sized logs. We've got the shop house foundation ready to go. It's taken me a little while. There's some other reasons why it's taken me a little longer than I thought, but we will pour next week, guaranteed. As far as the pad up here is concerned, I want to get that sawmill up here as well. But the place that we intend on falling this bark beetle timber from, there's still almost 3 feet of snow up there. We may not be able to get up there for another month and a half. It's supposed to be in the 90s this week. But anyway, super happy to have the backhoe. I may go ahead and try and dig that little spot down there where I think there's where the well witcher said there was water. I may try and dig that one more time. But I also have what's called a rock point or a sand point. This is what's called a sand point. And the idea is that I can thread 2-inch galvanized pipe right into the end of this. And there's a couple different ways to get them into the ground. I've seen guys use jackhammers to run them down into the ground. I've also seen guys use the bucket on a backhoe to push them into the ground. What I might do in my spot right down here where I think there's water is I might dig down as far as I can with the extend-a-hoe on the backhoe, and then take the 2-inch galvanized and take this sand point and try and push it in as far as I can, and maybe just put a little manual pump out there or something that we can you know, get the little bit of water that's there. There's water all over right here. You know, I have this issue with the water over here, and it runs right down the hill and disappears. So I know there's water out here. I just got to figure out how deep I got to go to get it. I'm trying to move some of this dirt now that I have the backhoe. I want the whole front of this area to come out, and we put the dirt here last year, and it was just always odd looking. It didn't make sense to put it where we put it, so I'm going to dig all this out and move it and make a big area where we can have a porch out here for the main house. There's also a need for more parking up here, so that's kind of the plan. But slowly but surely got this good and wet, and it's ready, just about ready for concrete. I just got to slap some more rebar, and that won't take me but an hour or two to do that. Making progress.